Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Your outline of your points, I think, has a great deal of congruity with the plans that we've been thinking about, so I think we have a very good basis to build on for the future. So thank you. And Senator Lugar, yes, we believe we need to invest more in agriculture and in biotech and in production and productivity throughout the developing world. So I thank you both very much for your comments. Today we are facing an extraordinary number of humanitarian crises that strike the hardest at the world's most destitute people. It is times like these, where working in close collaboration with Congress, that America's humanitarian global leadership performs at its highest level. Yesterday I returned from Burma, where Admiral Keating, commander of the United States Pacific Command, and I accompanied the initial C-130 relief flight, which has brought basic humanitarian supplies such as bottled water, blankets, mosquito nets for the Burmese people. Clearly, we face major challenges, ensuring that our assistance reaches those most in need. We are in a race against time as hundreds of thousands of Burmese are in extremely dire circumstances. The catastrophic cyclone in Burma, hitting that country's major rice-producing region in the middle of the rice harvest, is a reminder of the fragile food situation we face in many developing countries. We are in the midst of a global food crisis, unlike other food crises that we have faced, one that is caused not simply by natural disasters, conflict, or any single event, such as a drought. It is not localized, but pervasive and widespread, affecting the poor in developing countries around the world. From January to December 2007, the International Food Price Index rose by 43%, compared with just 9% in 2006. While sharply higher prices have been welcome news for some farmers, they mean hardship for many, and for the poorest, subsisting on $1 a day or less, food price increases mean deprivation and real hunger. For the poorest 1 billion, living on just $1 per day, very high food prices mean stark choices between taking a sick child to the clinic, paying school fees, or putting food on the table. Africa and Asia are suffering the most, but even in our own hemisphere, Haiti is gravely affected. Experts tell us that the situation underlying the crisis is not a temporary one, and demand for grain is outstripping supply. Our response is therefore three-pronged. We integrate immediate, near-term, and longer-term components, all of which are needed to address the core causes of chronic hunger. We plan to increase our efforts in three key areas. First, expand our humanitarian assistance, looking at the most critical needs globally. 2, attack the underlying causes of food insecurity through a significant increase in staple food production. And third, address policy barriers and trade policies that are adversely impacting food prices. We will save lives both through short-term, immediate food assistance and long-term help to increase agricultural production so that food, whether domestically produced or traded, is both more available and more affordable. We will respond to urgent needs, but also will help small farmers increase production of key food staples in targeted countries and regions. Because the underlying condition of this situation is impacted primarily by the increase in price rather than the global supply of food, newly affected hungry people, especially those in urban areas, can be assisted through carefully targeted assistance. For example, targeted voucher programs can help the poorest claim basic food supplies and staples without undermining commercial incentives for local food production and marketing. As you know, the President moved quickly by requesting $770 million on May 2nd. Of that, $395 million will enable USAID's Food for Peace office to meet its ongoing emergency needs by maintaining purchasing power and addressing new food needs in both rural and urban areas. In addition, $225 million of international disaster assistance will support critical nutritional interventions, increased access to farm inputs such as seed and fertilizer, improved abilities to monitor widespread vulnerability and local procurement and redistribution of commodities to stimulate production in surplus areas. Our immediate efforts will help provide stability in the short term. This will provide the foundation to achieve medium and longer-term goals that will help increase supply. Years of high growth and low prices resulted in reduced attention to and investment in agriculture, rural infrastructure, and markets. The President's emergency request will therefore increase our own investment by $150 million for fiscal year 2009 in agriculture development assistance funding and work to leverage additional resources from the private sector. We are seeking to increase our investment in agricultural research, harnessing science and technology and its application to boost productivity growth and environmental sustainability. And we will continue to urge countries to end restrictions for acceptance of biotechnology-based crops in either commercial trade or food aid. As we have seen in the past few food crises, distribution of food aid can be significantly complicated by barriers to biotechnology crops. I urge the members of this committee to take the leadership role in overcoming our global barriers by using modern science in an effort to help solve the problem of chronic world hunger. We are also reaching out to our G8 partners, applauding their efforts and encouraging still more. This June, I will be part of our delegation to the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization High-Level Conference on World Food Security, at which global leaders will gather to coordinate efforts to meet this challenge. Partnership with the private sector and with non-governmental organizations features prominently in these efforts. We will continue to invest in markets and work with countries and regional institutions to foster trade and the rapid movement of food from areas with excess supply to those where shortages are occurring. Taking a whole-of-government approach, we will work closely with partner countries, the World Bank, the IMF, foundations, and other organizations to encourage wise policies that favor agricultural trade, avoiding export restrictions and other market interventions that exacerbate the supply-demand imbalance. We are advancing agreements on trade in the Doha round, promoting national and regional commitments to invest in agriculture. United States leadership is essential, and failure is not an option. Though I've concentrated on the causes of the problem and its solution, we must never lose sight of the terrible human cost of hunger. Even short-term hunger can unalterably affect a child by exposing him or her to disease, threatening normal cognitive development and lifelong productivity, and tragically even early death. Yet the problem posed by high food prices is one we know how to solve. In doing so, we can recommit to ending the scourge of chronic hunger. Thank you very much, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.